Hello, everyone. Welcome to Paranormal Central. I am your host, Jeffrey Gonzalez. My co-host, Ellen Thomas.
Hi, everyone.
My official house band, Possessed Tranquility, who just brought us in. And over here is my paranormal reporter, Nicole McLeese. All right, well, welcome, everyone. We have a great show for you today. We have a great guest that's going to be coming out in the next segment. We are going to be talking UFOs today. UFOs that what we have is going to blow your mind. You might have seen this guest on reality shows on TV, on National Geographic, on the History Channel with Larry King. I actually did a reality show with him as well. But before we bring him out, I want to go to Nicole, and Nicole's going to be giving us the paranormal news from around the world. 3 great stories. Take us away, Nicole. What's going on?
Okay. Hi, I'm Nicole McLeese with your paranormal news update. Let's start with UFOs. Now, this report comes from Southern California, specifically the Anaheim Hills area. On February 27th of this year, a report came in of a witness who saw a military helicopter either chasing or escorting a large white orb. Now, earlier this year, on February 15th and 19th, 2 other reports came in with different witnesses observing the same thing, a bright orb being followed or escorted by a military helicopter. When asked, the military was happy to deny that they had any helicopters in the areas where the sightings occurred. On to some Bigfoot news. Many of you may recall the Bigfoot in the freezer hoax that occurred in 2008, where 2 Georgia residents, Matt Witten and Rick Dyer, claimed that they had shot and killed a Bigfoot, storing him in a freezer. The media was in a frenzy, and a press conference was held on the West Coast where all the media attended. However, within a few days, the frozen Sasquatch was confirmed to be nothing more than a rubber suit decorated with animal guts. Now, there's currently a man driving around America with a small trailer claiming to have shot a Bigfoot in Texas. And for a small fee, he will allow you to view the body. Who is this generous humanitarian? His name is Rick Dyer, the same Rick Dyer who pulled the Bigfoot in the freezer hoax back in 2008. The media has been giving him plenty of airtime, promoting his carnival attraction. And astoundingly, people are actually paying to see it. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and take my money too. Now, on a more somber note, as you probably already know, and if you are a Ghostbusters fan, you definitely already know, actor-director Harold Ramis, better known as Dr. Egon Spangler, recently passed away at the age of 69. He was also known for writing and directing Caddyshack, Groundhog's Day, and Stripes. Some of you may know that Ghostbusters 3 was on the horizon. In the wake of Ramis's death, the film director, Ivan Reitman, will be meeting with the Sony team to discuss how they'll move the project forward. In honor of Ramis's memory, we'll have a toast and eat a Twinkie. Thank you, Harold, for giving us one of the most important gifts there is in life, laughter.
Yes.
Twinkie.
Harold, we will miss you, Harold. And in honor of Harold, don't know if I'm going to eat this right now. I might. But, in this show, we're going to give away stuff to our audience because, that's what we're going to do. And I'm a toy fanatic and a toy freak. So look what I have here. What we're going to do is we got this collector's item we're going to be giving away to the audience during the commercial. So see what happens when you don't show up? So, all right. So that's what I'm talking about. So we're going to take a commercial break, and we're going to give this to a lucky winner, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Paranormal Central. All right, you know what? I am not going to waste any more time. I am going to bring out the guest because I want every minute with him on the show today. So let's give this guy the biggest welcome you can ever give anybody to the documentary writer of Out of the Blue, and I Know What I Saw, Mr. James Fox.
Good to see you.
What's up,
Thank
dude?
you.
Woo! Yeah.
Oh, it's in here, okay.
Yeah, it's in the. All right. Well, nobody knew you were here or coming.
Well, they saw me probably, maybe.
Really?
I might have revealed myself a little bit. But
That's okay. That's okay. Well, thank you for showing up today.
pleasure to be here.
I can't. This is awesome.
Thanks.
I mean, if you guys don't know who this guy is, then you are not a UFO nut like I am, right? I mean, how long have you been doing this?
I've been pushing hard for 22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
Oh, you beat me. I'm serious. You beat me. Oh, God, I don't know where to start.
Well, first of all, one of the things I always say to people, because people will say, why do you do what you do?
Yes.
Because they don't quite get it, especially a lot of times in the mainstream, they don't quite get it. And I say, all right, can we suspend judgment for a moment, and can we just hypothetically imagine if Earth was being visited, if UFOs were real, if this was a reality, how significant of a reality would you consider that to be? If, hypothetically. And they all say, oh my God, it'd be the most important thing ever. I mean, it would be it. That'd be the #1 story of, and I say, well, I'm absolutely 100% convinced that it's going on. And so it's a story that I can't walk away from. I feel obligated now that the films that I've done and the people that I've met, knowing in myself that it's a reality, that I have an obligation to deliver the best material I possibly can to the public. So that's kind of the catch-22.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen everything you've done on TV. You've been everywhere. People respect you, man, and I appreciate you do what you do and continue doing what you're doing. I really appreciate that. I love your passion. I mean, come on. I mean, I think these are the two best documentaries out there on UFOs today. Wouldn't you guys agree?
I agree.
Absolutely.
In fact, I've
Absolutely.
probably watched it 5 or 6 times. Each one.
I mean, they play these on TV all the time.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're good. I mean,
Well, I remember with I Know What I Saw, I kept pushing because initially I Know What I Saw was born because I was just trying to revamp Out of the Blue because, one always says, when is a film done? A film done when you're out of money, you're out of steam, like that's really when you have to put the done label on it. But I always felt that Out of the Blue could be better, and so I revisited Out of the Blue 2.5 years after I finished the first version, and I spent another 2 years on it. And then I said, it could be better. I remember going, it could be better. And my partners looked at me and go, you're out of your mind. Like, you're done. I'm like, no, I'm not done. We're going to keep going.
Right.
So I had to buy those guys out. And I said, we could put a film in theaters. We could put a UFO film in theaters for the first time ever. So I bought my other investors out. Everyone thought I was crazy. They literally said, you've got a snowball's chance in hell. And I said, well, if that's the chance I have, I'm going for it.
Right.
And so that was the birth of I Know What I Saw. And I didn't have a title for I Know What I Saw. And everyone's like, what are you doing? Is it Out of the Blue or what is it? I said, I don't know. It's a new film and we want to put this one in theaters and that's what our goal is. And we didn't succeed, but we did get the film done and out there. And the reason why we came to the title is because I edited I Know What I Saw. And I kept hearing from witnesses, look, saying, don't tell me what I saw. I know what I saw. I thought, wait a minute. That's a good title.
Yeah.
So that's how Out of I Know What I Saw was born. And I remember my father, I remember feeling down when I sold it to A&E and it was getting, decent viewership and
Absolutely.
History Channel and everything.
Right.
But I felt kind of down. I felt like I'd let my fans down. I felt like I let myself down a little bit. And I remember my dad saying, son, what are you saying? You finished the film and you sold it to A&E and you paid back all your investors. And I said, yeah, but I wanted to put it in theaters, Dad, and I didn't do it, And so that's why I'm really excited about 701 because now that's the film that we're going to put in theaters, And
we're going to talk about that a little bit too.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh my God, 701 guys. All right, your family. What did your family think about you doing this?
Well, my father was paralyzed from the neck down with multiple sclerosis my whole life, and so he was a mainstream journalist, and so far I was his legs. I was his chauffeur, I was his secretary, I was his nurse for many years, and we traveled all around the world together for different magazines, and we did stories. But he was very mainstream. We did stuff. We interviewed Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, I've seen the
John
picture
Wilkes.
of you guys, and you're like a little boy sitting there with
Yeah.
Stephen Hawking.
gosh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, we
Stephen
interviewed race car
Hawking.
drivers, Dan Gurney. We did really cool stuff. We went down to Mexico City for the Grand Prix for Sports Illustrated, and turned out the owner of the winning team was in a wheelchair, Hal Williams, and it was sponsored by Marlboro. My dad and I had Marlboro T-shirts that were given to us for free, and he was in a wheelchair. So when they won the race, they thought my father was the owner of the team. So my father and I got to like soak up the glory from it. It was kind of like paparazzi everywhere. Anyway, that's a side story.
Oh my
But-
God, that's
so,
funny.
Yeah, so my dad was very mainstream, and so when I set out initially 22 years ago to do a film on UFOs, he was devastated. He was like, "Son, what are you doing? There's nothing to this. Don't waste your time. It's a dead-end street," you know. And I said, you know, I'm a Taurus, you know, April, and I said, well, that fueled my fire even more, and I think that's what propelled me and gave me the drive I needed to produce my first film, which took the better part of 5 years. And then I sold to Discovery Channel, and they had letters. My family was writing me letters from all abroad, because I was born in England, so I've got family over abroad.
Okay.
They were writing me letters like, please reconsider this, your father's very concerned. It's like, you know what? I was like, all you guys.
no,
I'm going to do it anyway. But you know what I mean.
yeah. So,
but why did you pick that topic?
But
you know,
when
UFO.
Well, anyway, let me just say that there was a turning point for my father.
okay.
I invited my father during the first part of filming of Out of the Blue. I got an interview with Mercury astronaut Gordon Cooper.
Wow.
He was the last American astronaut to go up into space. He was an iconic figure of my father's generation.
Yeah.
And I said, Dad, I've got an interview with this guy, Mercury astronaut Gordon Cooper. And he said, really? I said, yeah, would you like to come? So I took my father with me, because normally I'd go with him on these interviews. I took him with me, and he listened to what Gordon Cooper had to say about landing at Edwards Air Force Base, the encounters he had while flying these jets over Germany. And my father sat there and he thought, why on earth would this guy jeopardize his reputation to tell us his story and make stuff up? And that was a turning point for my father.
Awesome. Stop right there. We're going to go to commercial. We'll be right back, okay? PT, take us out. Welcome back to Paranormal Central. We got James Falk in the studio, and we are talking UFOs, and I'm not going to let him go home tonight. All right. What the best UFO footage you have ever seen?
Right, well, this is one of the questions because, unfortunately, the best UFO footage I've ever seen never have seen the light of day. And I'm going to tell this story because I want to share this with you guys. I don't tell the story very often, very rarely, actually. But I got a phone call during the first production of my first UFO film. I was telling you my father was so against me doing. And I got a phone call from a guy who I just interviewed named Chuck Clark, who was out at Rachel, Nevada. And he was monitoring activity with a telescope, a high-powered telescope, and a camera at Area 51. He knew at the time in the 90s that where the vantage points where you can go and see the base. And he put together the Area 51 handbook, and he had great photographs, and I developed a nice rapport with this guy. You know, I interviewed him for the movie. Well, he calls me one day, and granted, I live 12 hours away from him, maybe longer. It was a long drive. He calls me, he says, you need to come here right now. I said, what's going on? He said, I have some footage that you need to see. I said, well, can you tell me about it? He said, I'll tell you this, when you see it, your jaw's gonna hit the floor. I said, okay. I got in the car, canceled all my meetings, and I drove straight to Rachel, Nevada. Promise you. Swear on my father's grave, this is everything I'm gonna tell you is exactly as it happened. Get to his house, he hits the play button, and there is like the quintessential road trip video with two guys just traveling around. They're gonna go to Area 51 and go to Rachel, Nevada and look at the alien and you know, the extraterrestrial highway signs, and they're goofing off and they're just, you know, hey Bob, get a load of this, you know, and they're posing next to this stuff, and you see this whole thing on the road, and they're playing music, and then they're in the little alien, and they're posing next to aliens and you know, all that stuff. All of a sudden, the car's parked. They're inside the car, and there's a light source, and they're screaming at each other. Okay, the car's parked. They're screaming at each other, get down, get down, get down, it's over us. Like this, he's like, get down, and you see this light, okay? So the car's here, there's a source of light shining down in the car, and your perspective is on the inside. You see the dashboard, you see some of the side panels, you see their knees, like they're not filming it very well. They're freaked out, and they're low. They're down low on the floorboards. Get down, get down.
They're
it's
like
over us.
hiding from it, right?
Yeah, and the light source is eerily, like the shadows on the inside of the car. There's a really bright light on the dashboard, and then the shadows are kind of rocking around in this way that you've never seen before, okay? Whoa. I've never seen anything like it. I remember looking at it going, this is odd. The light source must be doing something that I've never seen a light source do before, but it's really flooding the light like Close Encounters, like Steven Spielberg style. Right. And they're screaming at him, and all of a sudden the kid, and so they're rocking around like this, and the kid goes, there's a younger guy, there's a guy who's like in his late 20s, and a guy that's about 18, 19, he goes, I'm getting out. Don't get out. And they start arguing. He goes, I'm getting out. Grabs the camera, opens the door. The camera goes panning from the floor of the desert floor, okay, all dirt, desert floor, and it's dusk. It's not dark, it's not light, it's dusk. You can see it, the ground, you can see all the dust, the desert floor, and these, what do you call it, tumbleweeds. And the camera pans up like this, and there about 100 feet or less, maybe 75 feet off the ground, is this perfect disc, okay? It's so beautiful. It's like orange and yellow, and it had like cuts in it. Like if you took a pie and you cut the pie, but you didn't take the pie apart. Okay. You know, they had like those. That's what it looked like, and it was wobbling like this. Like if you had a top that you'd spin, it was wobbling like this, and I just went, oh my God! Like I can't believe it's the best thing I've ever seen. And the camera guy, operating the camera, the kid goes, oh my God, like this, and then the camera shuts off, and that was it. And I said, Chuck, I have to have this footage for my film. He said, I promised the kids, they're terrified. They think the government, they think they filmed some sort of secret government craft and they're gonna get killed for it. And I mean, you know, like all the UFO sightings that you see, it's like, oh, what's that light? Or it could be, no, this is a flying saucer. It's 55, 75 feet in the air. It's right there. It's so unbelievable. This is before a lot of the animation stuff.
Right, the CGI and all that.
There wasn't one shred of doubt in my mind this was authentic. I mean, it was the best thing I've ever seen. It's the holy grail of footage that we've all been waiting for, and it's never seen the light of day. Talk about frustrating. So I pestered him for 10 years. I did. Unless Chuck Clark, anyone could track Chuck Clark down and ask him about James Fox. He'll tell you he doesn't talk to me anymore. He said, if you ask me again about that footage, I said, just tell the guys to call me. I'll get money for them. I'll provide protection, whatever they want. And he said, if you ask me again, I'll never talk to you again. Of course, I asked him again, and that's it. Wow. So I don't know where that footage is now, but it's out there somewhere if anyone knows. Apparently, they're from Los Angeles. Wow. I know.
Oh, they can make a meal off of that.
When you know it exists, and it's not out there. When I've seen it with my own eyes, it's just
and that's why I'm doing this show, because there are people out there who are watching this show, and they know we are not going to make fun of them. We're not going to, you know, if you have something like that, something that's going to blow us away, by all means, get a hold of us. We want to see it. We're not going to make fun of you. We'll take, you know, the best care of you and whatever you're going to show us. I know there's so much of that out there.
And we'll even keep them anonymous. I mean, if they don't want to be known.
Yes. You know what? Yeah. We got to go to commercial. Okay. Continue on. We'll be right back. Take us out, right? Welcome back, everyone. We got James Fox in the hot seat, and we're talking UFOs, and I can't get enough of this. All right, we're going to continue on. You got a letter from somebody very important who's in the industry. You guys know who? It was after.
I know what I saw.
I know what I saw.
Yes.
Somebody in Hollywood saw this and wrote him a letter. You guys know who it was? Steven Spielberg. He got a letter from Steven Spielberg, and for a while it was kept top secret.
Oh. Okay, so when we finished the first cut of I Know What I Saw, I sent it to Larry King. Larry King and his crew watched it and they loved it.
Right.
And they said, boy, this is the real life Close Encounters. I said, well, send it to Spielberg.
Right.
You know, I've been trying to get to this guy for 20 years. And so Larry said, okay, I'll do that. You know, of course, Larry King's got the power to do that kind of
absolutely.
stuff. So Larry King just writes down a note, puts it in the thing, off to Spielberg it goes. And then like, about a week later, I get a phone call from Steven Spielberg's like chief of staff or one of these people
Okay.
at
Publicist.
CAA office. It wasn't his publicist, that's Marvin Levin, but it was somebody else. And they said, Mr. Fox? I said, yeah. She said, well, I just want you to know that Steven Spielberg's going to watch your movie right now. Right now. I said, right now? It's like 10:30 in the morning. She said, yeah, he's going in right now to watch it, private screening. And I said, oh my gosh, you know, I was so excited and thinking to myself, because we hadn't released it yet. The movie wasn't out yet. So
Oh,
if we
really?
can get his endorsement, no, it wasn't yet.
Oh my God,
It was
okay.
like not out yet. It's a perfect timing.
Right.
So anyway, that next hour and a half, all I could think about was, oh my gosh, you know, like, Steven Spielberg's watching my movie right now. How exciting is that? What's going
That'd
to
be
happen?
how I would be
So
if
I
you
get-
were watching my movie. You'd be like,
So then I get a phone call about an hour and a half later, and she said, he watched your movie. I said, and? He sat down in his office and he wrote a letter. I said, okay, and then what? She said, I don't know, I think he posted it off to Larry King. So I said, oh, okay. so then I don't know, another week or so goes by, I get a message from one of Larry King's workers, and she says, Larry King has a letter from Steven Spielberg about your movie. Would you like to see it? I was like, hell yes, I'd like to see it. She's like, okay, I'll put it in the package and I'll FedEx it to you. So I'm at home in Bolinas, Northern California, and the FedEx truck guy arrives and he says, James, you're not gonna believe this. You got a letter from Larry King here. And I said, actually, it's from Larry King with Steven Spielberg inside. He's like, you're kidding me. I said, no. He goes, can I sit down and wait with you and watch? I said, sure. So I couldn't get the thing open. So it was me and the FedEx guy standing out in the road. I didn't even go to the house, but I'm ripping the thing open, not to rip it, you know, but taking the package open and open it up, and there it is. In his own handwriting, he typed out this beautiful letter, you know, from Steven Spielberg. And I wish I had it in front of me. Had I known you were going to talk about this, I would have brought it. Oh. And I know. But basically what it said was, I've been watching your shows on UFOs recently. I really, you know, hats off to you. I personally, although a lot of the material I've ever done is UFO related themes,
Right.
I personally have never seen a UFO. And then he says, that's so unfair, with a huge exclamation point. And then he said, I hope one day soon the government will disclose the true and original origins of UFOs. Something like, I hope them to disclose the full
Absolutely.
thing. Keep carrying on, or something, to Larry King. All the best, Steven Spielberg.
Wow.
Oh, and he said that he really found I Know What I Saw very compelling. Okay.
Yeah.
So I said, I was negotiating a deal at the time with an agent with the show, and he said, do you have any idea, like, having a stamp of approval from Steven Spielberg, that's going to catapult that film into the limelight? He goes, that's going to be worth its weight in gold. So my father at the time, my father's all excited. My father goes, well, you got the quote, just use it. I said, well, yeah, you know, a lot of people really trusted of me. I need to get permission. So I contact Marvin Levin, his publicist, and I said, I want to get a quote from Steven Spielberg of the movie. And he said, oh, Steven doesn't do that. I said, well, Steven's already watched it, and I have the letter, I have the quote. I just need to get it. He goes, you have the letter, you have the quote. I was like, you have it. Well, hold on a second, let me get back to you. He said, well, we'd really appreciate it if you didn't come out with that. I was like, why not? He's like, well, we really don't want you to release that, you know. And so I thought to myself, gosh, you know, here's a guy that's dedicated all this time and all these things to UFO-related themes.
Right.
And there's an independent guy like myself struggling on like a, you know, the tiniest budget, really pushing hard for disclosure, and he
You would
won't even
think
give
he'd
me
help
an endorsement? I mean, come on,
Well,
I'm not asking the guy for money.
You know, people were saying that there was a lot of top secret stuff in that letter, and there were, you know, there was a reason why you weren't releasing it, and I don't think you're telling the truth.
No,
I actually have that letter right here. No, I'm kidding.
No, it's the total
Did you
truth.
see his eyes?
Yeah,
Did
no,
you
I'm
see
thinking to
his
myself,
eyes?
did I miss a paragraph? Like I'm going to kill you if you come out with this?
You guys better have got that on camera.
No, but he wouldn't do it because I think they realized, like, well, he's not in the business of endorsing films, and then I saw that he endorsed and the Fourth Kind, which is, you know, and I thought, you know, it's really all about greasing the other, you know, the wheels, you know. Anyway, so I sat on that letter for several years, and then last year I released it for the first time. And what it's really neat is, like, you have to read it very carefully. It doesn't say anything explosive, but it does say that he's very upset that he's never seen a UFO.
Right.
And that he hopes, and that he endorses my film, I Know What I Saw, and he hopes that the government will disclose the truth.
Right.
You know? And that coming from him, that's a big deal.
Right.
You know, and so
And he probably knows people in the government that knows the truth.
So yeah, well, here's what we're gonna do. So when 701 gets released, and we're catapulted in the limelight, I'm gonna bring that on my first interview. I'm gonna bring that letter with me, and make it really get some traction.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Right, absolutely. Steven Spielberg, that's all, he loves aliens. He actually admitted it. I actually have it recorded someplace where actually he was talking in front of a college faculty in a theater on
Right.
and somebody says, do you believe in aliens? And with another question, and he went and was answering the first question, and at the very end, she said, oh, by the way, I do believe in aliens. And I have it recorded, and I actually played it on my show, and he's saying it. And everybody was like,
Well,
I always thought that, you know, I think Spielberg is in the know-how.
yeah. Well, here I'll share. If you guys, we have time for one more quick story.
Yeah,
Steven
yeah,
Spielberg
yeah,
story.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so there's a guy. I'd probably rather not mention his name, but there's a guy very high up. He was former head of TriStar Pictures, and he has been in the background helping me over the years. People say, "How do you get I Know What I Saw on the History Channel to sell it to A&E?" He's been quietly in the background helping me, like, you know, he believes in what I'm doing, but he doesn't want a front row seat to it, the whole thing. He quietly manipulates or navigates things behind the scenes. So one day I asked him, I said, why do you help me? Like, why are you being so nice to me? And you never want anything in return. He's never asked for a cut of any of the sales. And he said, a couple of reasons, James. He said, one is, I'm trying to think of the name of the guy, but he was pulled aside by a famous actor that was the pool player in Hustler. What was his name? He was also in Smokey and the Bandit. He was the police officer, and I'll think of his name in a second.
Gleason.
Jackie Gleason.
Jackie
Thank you.
Gleason.
So Jackie Gleason pulled this guy aside and said, don't ever listen to what anyone says about UFOs. They're absolutely real. I know without a shadow of doubt. I've had it shown to me or something. Don't listen to what anyone says, they're real. And then the other thing was that there was a screening, and I think it was of E.T. at the White House. Was it E.T.?
It was E.T. with
Okay,
Ron
so
Reagan.
E.T. at the White House. And
Ron
after
Reagan.
the screening, apparently, someone came up to Steven Spielberg and gave him photographs of what we believe to be the aliens that were recovered in 1947 from Roswell. And my connection said to Spielberg, what are you going to do with those photographs? And he said, nothing.
Bullcrap.
That's what he said.
Close encounters of the third kind. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. He's in the know-how. All right, we got to go to commercial.
The
We'll be right
aliens
back.
look
though,
like
right? Yeah.
the aliens that were coming out of that little ship.
Yeah.
They
All right.
look like the aliens everybody describes.
So, all right, we're going to go to commercial. We'll be right back. PT, take us out. All right, welcome back. I don't even have to tell you who we have in the seat here. All right, you are filming a motion picture about UFOs.
Yes.
It's called 701. Explain the title, please.
Okay, so 701 are the number of cases that remained unexplained as part of Project Blue Book Files. From 1947 to 1969, the United States Air Force launched a series of investigations into UFOs. 12,618 cases were investigated, 701 remained in 1969 unexplained. That doesn't mean there weren't more. The Air Force tried their darndest to explain all of them.
Right.
But they were
Right.
literally like, this is like some of the most unambiguous UFO encounters with a colossal amount of evidence, and they just couldn't explain it, so they put,
Unexplained, yeah.
unexplained on there. So 701 remain unexplained. So it's the number that actually, what it represents.
Ah, I get it. Okay.
701 represents that number of very stubborn cases that defy a conventional explanation.
Wow.
Do you see?
Yes.
We are covering one of the definitive cases as part of Project Blue Book Files, the 1964 Socorro, New Mexico case. But we're also covering international cases. We're covering cases in South America. We're doing close encounters of the third kind in South America, close encounters of the third kind in Africa, close encounters of the third kind here in America.
Right.
So I've never done this before. These are very solid cases, very impressive cases.
I am.
Compelling, even.
Yeah. Now, okay.
Really compelling.
Now, you brought a clip. We're going to see a clip from this for the first time ever.
First time ever, yes.
Ever.
First time
Ever. Okay. Lead us into this clip. What are we going to see? What's the case about first?
All right, well, if I told you that several UFOs landed in 1994, Rua, Zimbabwe, at 10:30 a.m. in an adjacent field while 200 school children were out playing, would you believe me? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah.
Well, it happened.
It happened. 1994, right?
1994.
I remember that. I remember that. Oh, go ahead.
it
Come on.
actually went in the
Steven
news.
Spielberg considers it one of the best cases in modern history, period. It was a close encounter of the third kind that lasted between 15 and 20 minutes. The school children all recounted the same story. Dr. John Mack, a Harvard psychiatrist, said he would give his diploma from Harvard University if these children were lying. And he went there and he documented the case thoroughly right after it happened.
Right.
He unfortunately was struck dead by a car looking the wrong way in London. His footage remained kind of on ice for the most part. Some of it's leaked out, but for the most part, it has not been seen the light of day. And we managed, and I'm not going to bore you with the details, we managed to negotiate getting access to the archive footage and then getting access to the witnesses today.
Right.
So you have footage of when they were little kids,
Yes.
right? That nobody saw before.
Very few people. I
Okay.
mean, some of it, like some British company did a little something with it, but nothing. I mean, I don't think anything's ever been done about it in America.
Really
Maybe a
not
couple-
much,
Yeah, it's,
no.
it's
I saw
very,
the
very little.
little,
Most
right.
people never heard of it.
Right.
Right,
No,
yeah,
I mean,
that's
yeah.
true.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
UFO researchers don't know.
Okay.
Because Cynthia Hines was part of it. She died. There was a BBC correspondent by the name of Tim Leach. He died. And then, of course, Dr. John Mack died. So 3 of the primary people involved with research in this case are no longer alive
I
today.
wonder why.
Well, I don't know. It
Okay.
could be just...
now, in this movie, you tracked down a lot of the witnesses when they were, what, 6th graders, 5th graders? How old were these kids?
They were between the ages of 8 and 11, but most of them that we interviewed were 11 years old at the time.
Okay. So now, how old are they?
30.
Right.
Wow.
Now,
that-
you actually
wow.
found how many?
Well, we found more than what we flew out, but we flew out 5.
Right.
Yeah, that were on the playground. They were all different parts of the world.
Right.
And one of them, who you're going to hear from today, has never even told her husband of 5 years about it.
Imagine that. He made a call. The wife, I'm going to America, and he's going, why? Well, I have to tell you a story.
She tells her husband, "I'm
She-
going
she
to
has
America."
2 children with her husband, never told him.
Wow.
So what are we going to see here?
You're going to see the archive footage, and you're going to see some interviews of today that were taken just a few months ago.
Let's go.
I saw this maroon color in the sky, and me and my friends were following it.
It was a silver oval thing that flew past really slowly.
All I saw was a silver flash, just like that.
It was shiny. It had a silver shiny thing on the end.
And then I saw something shining and somebody sitting on it.
We saw this like a silver thing down there. And then we saw this black man dressed in black, and he had long hair to here, and he had big eyes. And then I saw this black figure, and it was running in slow motion.
Because eyes were here, I knew it was like a bit scary. And we couldn't really get the picture of his nose properly.
He had a big head and big black eyes and was dressed in a black bodysuit.
And how big was the figure?
It was about as big as a grade 6.
How far away were you when you saw him?
Not very far, about a meter away.
A meter away, that close?
Yes.
I think they're trying to tell us something which is going to happen, or which something's going to happen, or I think that they're good people because they're showing us all these things that other people don't believe in. They went about a meter off the ground and then they just vanished.
And what happened to the big one?
The big one did the same.
All of a sudden, it was just like imaging going through my head of a message, a communication. I describe it as like a telepathic communication. There was no talking.
For me, I didn't have any form of communication with it. It didn't speak to me or say anything to me, but I remember being very captivated by the eyes. And in that moment, however long it was, because I have no idea of the time frame, it was mesmerizing. It was absolutely captivating.
As soon as I saw it, I knew that this was something from another planet or something from out of this worldly space.
People need to know there is something else out there.
I can get the chills just.
I can't wait for the movie to come out.
Me too.
Dude, that was, seriously, dude. Okay, we're going to be going to commercial here pretty quick, and then we're going to come back for the last segment, talk a little bit about the movie. I can't wait. How much more do you got until we see this?
Well, right now we've focused on 3 Close Encounters of the Third Kind primary cases that are going to have sweeping cinematic recreations on location. So we're going to go to Africa, where the school thing happened. We're going to go to South America. The Virginia case, when your audience sees the Virginia case, it's equally as unbelievable. We're not talking ambiguous, off in the distance, what is that? We're talking close encounter where you could reach out and touch the creature.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go commercial. We'll be back. One more segment with James. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We got James Fox. I want to, first of all, when is this movie going to be released? Or how long?
As soon as possible.
Okay.
But
Right.
I would say realistically, year and a half.
Okay. Hopefully
if all
sooner.
goes extremely well.
Okay.
But we'll do the best we can. I mean, I want this out as quickly as possible too.
Right on.
So.
Okay. Before you leave, I respect you. I think what you're doing is awesome for everybody. I love your passion, consider you a friend, and I want to give you something as a token of our appreciation for all the hard work that you've been doing. Nicole?
Oh my gosh! That is the coolest thing ever.
We appreciate you doing what you're doing, and keep it up.
I can't believe that. Thank you so much.
And don't stop, okay?
Thank you. That is really nice. Thank you. I can't believe that. That is.
All right,
Thank
well.
You earned that one, buddy.
That's it. Again, I can't wait for the 701. All right? Thank you for showing up today, and we'll see you next time on Paranormal Central.
Yeah.